Now it's time for something really good.
True dat.
It's time for Welcome to Patchwork.
Good morning, Melbourne, and welcome to Patchwork. You're with Chrissy, Deezer and Joe this Friday, the 13th of April. And who said that Friday the 13th was unlucky? I bet you think you're unlucky driving to work on this dreadful Monday morning. You're listening to the Hot Brekkie with bacon and eggs and overcooked hash browns with a side of wilted spinach on 106.9 FM. Oh, wow. Remember to mix it up with Macca's. They have their brand new Murder Burger. That's lettuce, tomato, cheese and Angus and Julia Stone beef on bacon on a sesame seed bun. The traffic report this morning, the M1 southbound lane has been closed due to the presence of a flock of cattle. I'm your host, Deezer, and with me is Joe.
Welcome to Patchwork.
And Chrissy.
Welcome to Patchwork.
Coming right up in the next hour, we've got Poozy, Schmoozy and Juicy featuring all things celebrity gossip. But right now, it's time for old friends to sit around and sew a new patch into their quilt of friendship.
Amazing. Yeah. So that is our commercial radio.
Yeah, I was inspired. I was inspired by what we talked about last week.
What inspired you?
Well, we got picked up by a commercial radio station, one of our segments, and that was very inspirational.
So in part one, we played you the clip of a commercial station that had taken really good and made it their own in a very oblique way. We had a lot of questions about this clip and what happened. So just to let you guys know that their segment was going for several weeks, and they got in touch with us, and then they said, and they quietly admitted to, hey, we liked your idea so much, we stole it and did our own version.
Prefaced it with, we really like your show so much, in fact, that we've stolen a bit of it.
Yeah, we're a morning drive program. We've got a lot of content, a lot of air we need to fill in. So, we're gonna take this from you.
But they contacted us, mentioned they were doing it, and we said, oh, okay, well, would you like to credit us with the creation of the segment? And then they never did the segment again. And never credited us and just left it.
So this is part 2 of our retrospective. We'll be looking back at the whole season, revisiting some topics, discussing further some points that friends have brought up, some points that fans have brought up, and generally just winding up season 1 of Welcome to Patchwork. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you guys know that I don't know about your parents, but my parents really enjoy listening to the podcast. So much so that after almost every episode, my mum writes me an email with a review of the episode. So what I wanted to read to you guys was one of the emails she sent me after one of our patches. And it opens like this. Dion.
Sorry, now you can't pronounce your own name.
She calls me Dion.
Runs in the family. There we go.
What would they know? They came up with it. Dion. Or sometimes Dionski as well.
It doesn't matter.
I just listened to your very enjoyable podcast. I like the different components and the whole patchwork idea. I like the way you weave certain ideas throughout the show, e.g. bringing the vintage antique concepts at various different stages. I also like the fact that I engage and start thinking about things like, you know what's really good, etc., etc. She just put this in kind of like a byline. I checked the definition of antique as opposed to vintage, and they are not the same. Hey. Is that sentence that just stands alone?
Vindication.
She goes on to say, I also noted your friends at times I have difficulty telling them apart. Yes! Comments about your online shopping habits, which reminded me of my sister. So this is where my mum is my mum and just tells stories as her way of communicating.
And you are her son, and you tell stories that go for too long.
On a podcast. Yeah. Which reminds me of my sister, who asked me if I wore clothes I bought on sale. Although I was always a non-impulsive shopper, this was a very good intervention on her part and made me subsequently reevaluate further my shopping habits by always asking myself, will I wear it? And do I really need to wear it for whatever I buy? I thought the drinking part was very funny, although for me, not surprisingly, the heroic glorification of alcohol made it seem too fair dinkum Aussie. Overall, good fun and very enjoyable.
Did she give us a number of stars?
No, really. I was thinking of whether to put them in at the end. I think she would have given maybe 4.3 stars.
I love the amount
Yarmulkes out of 5.
I love the amount of detail she veered off about the clothes shopping. Like, it really made me think, when you made a stupid joke about clothes, it made me think about my sister and if I wear discount clothes or not.
I just love, but I was wondering, do your folks listen to the podcast and enjoy it, or is it kind of not really for them? Because both my parents love it. I get feedback, and I love the difference between my mum communicating. My mum will write this huge email, and my dad wrote me an email that just said, "Very good, Darls." That's it. And he loves it.
My biggest concern with my mum listening to it is
That half the podcast is about it.
yeah. I really want my nonnal to listen. I wish that he would. But with mum listening, I tend to listen with her around, and she always laughs. But she's done that throughout my entire life. She always laughs at everything I say.
So it's lost. You don't know.
But I think it's given me this false sense of confidence that perhaps I'm funnier than I am.
Why does she do that? Why does she laugh at
Because
everything
she's
you
a
say?
supporting mother.
She's supporting me.
But she scolds you so often.
With hot water.
So you think you have a distorted perspective on whether you're funny or not?
Perhaps.
I think we should put this to the listeners.
Yeah. But yeah, so she listens occasionally, but not as avidly as your mum.
I think my folks listen to... I actually don't have a concrete number for you. I think it was maybe 1, and then the feedback was just like, oh, yeah, but it's not really for us, is it, Joshua? It's not for people our age. I'm like, yeah, it's fair.
But are we not for the elderly? Sorry, not the elderly.
If the elderly knew what podcasts were, I think we would be.
Yeah, I don't think that we have an age bracket.
No, we just glorify drinking.
So earlier in the season, we talked about dirty laundry. And dirty laundry is a big thing for me because I don't know what to do with something that I've worn once or twice. I don't know if to put it back into the wardrobe or to put it in the laundry basket.
It's not dirty yet.
It's not dirty
Which
yet.
is absolutely insane. It's amazing that your mum sends you emails, but there's been a fundamental flaw in the way that she's raised you as a human being. Can I just say that both of you thought that it was some kind of, let's gang up on Christian. We're both right.
No.
Yes,
you
we
definitely
did. Yes, we did, Josh.
You definitely did. Both of you thought that it was completely fine to just leave your dirty clothes on the floor, leave them wherever you like.
Dirty. They're not super dirty. They're like a little bit worn.
Sorry, let's just throw them on the floor though, where the dirt doesn't accumulate.
back in.
But no, I'm not getting back into this because I don't need to, because there has been copious amounts of support for yours truly. Thank you so much.
Really? What do people say?
Everyone that's written to me has been like, can't believe what Josh and Dion were arguing. So happy you stood your ground.
The people, you know what? Josh and I are heroes because the people, because the people that identify with us, they're not able to speak up. We're representing the common man and
little
woman
man
who struggles with on a day-to-day
Excuse
basis.
me.
It's one of those topics in life that people don't discuss. People aren't open about it. People don't talk about if they're stressed at work, what they do about it, mental health issues. People don't talk about their sex lives enough. But one thing
Enough for your liking, Dion.
one thing we want to bring to the fore.
To the fore?
One thing we want to bring to the fore.
No, you want to bring it to the floor.
Is how people deal with dirty laundry. It's a big issue. And if you accumulate all of these things in your life, they cause stress.
No. Do you know what?
And
there is?
dirt and grime.
There's a clear division between people who are too afraid to speak out and the people who have actually grown up and learned what to do with their dirty laundry.
Do you know what? I was just thinking, when I was younger, we used to have a cleaner, and the cleaner wasn't allowed to enter my room. Was never allowed to enter my room. Just cleaned, like the doors were, I think all of them. Don't look at me like that. I
love the idea of the cleaner cleaning the hinges, the facade of your door.
And it just steaming through the hinges.
Was this your choice or your parents' choice?
So this is my parents' choice.
Yeah.
But one thing Lena, the cleaner, used to do
Lena the cleaner.
was
Get
that
out of here.
so I'd be dropped at home, and by like on this roster system,
Just on the floor. Just dropped. That explains a lot.
so I'd be dropped at home, and I would get home an hour before my mum would come home. And what I would do is that we'd have this unspoken rule with Lena the cleaner. I think she was Hungarian. She was a Hungarian migrant. She used to make toast for me. She used to butter it. Then I used to sit on her lap. And for the hour that I was waiting for my mum to get back, she used to scratch my back.
What?
She used to scratch my back. And
Are you sure she was a cleaner?
Yeah, she was. She was a cleaner. So my mum would come home, the roller door would come up, and I would jump out of Lena the cleaner's lap, and no one would know what had happened.
Wait a second. This isn't a podcast story, mate. This is something you whisper to a police officer when you're younger.
Or the school psychiatrist, you're like, oh, there's this thing happening at home.
But to this day, I bloody love getting my back scratched. Yeah, it's almost a kink.
This is insane.
Pretend to be Lena. Hey, Hey, Dion, you want to get your back scratched now?
And you're like, yeah, don't clean my room. Don't clean my room.
Do you like having your back scratched? It's
Hang on.
amazing.
Was there like
Can we move on?
Wait, no. Was there like
Please?
this period of like foreplay before where you'd kind of walk around and kind of stretch a bit, and she'd kind of tap her fingernails on the table?
It was around booster seat time.
Explains a lot.
And it was around, that time where I'd get home, I was pretty tired from school, and she'd just scratch my back.
So bizarre.
Yeah,
And
it's really bizarre.
I love that a key component of it was the toast as well.
Yeah.
Go on, Dion. Come have your toast on the lap.
That was the time that you went from boy to man.
This is very true. This is very true.
In response to our conversation about dirty laundry, one of our listeners felt so passionately in favour of my side of the argument that he felt compelled to record audio to professionally produce a podcast all about. No, he recorded a clip of audio and sent it over to me about his thoughts.
Hey guys, it's Paddo here. I just wanted to respond to something that I thought was outrageous on last week's podcast. And that is, Josh, your selection of where to place your once used pants. I think that Christian was right.
Yes.
I think he was unfairly treated by you and Dion, who clearly have no idea whatsoever of where to place your barely worn belongings. The choice of the floor is just an absolute outrage. I want to see your living conditions of your bedrooms, because the only thing that I can imagine is that you are both living in squalor.
Yep, I don't deny that.
Now, Paddo went on to offer his services to clean both of your rooms for 2 hours of his time.
Don't need
to
it.
come and clean your rooms.
He wouldn't be able to get in my room. There's no chance.
Yeah, Lena's standing at the door.
I'd only do it with a back scratch.
Now, Paddo, is it? I've got a bone to pick with Paddo, okay?
I got a bone to pick.
He comes in and thinks he can tell me what to do with my clothes and thinks he knows what's going on in my room. He doesn't know what's going on in my room.
He doesn't know the circumstance of what's going on
He
in
doesn't
Josh's
know
room.
I sleep in a tiny room on a bunk bed.
He doesn't know he sleeps in a tiny bunk bed.
He doesn't understand the limited space that I have in my room.
Limited space.
Thanks for Dion, the little peanut gallery over here. It's like little salacious crumb from, Jabba the Hutt. Anyone Star Wars fans? Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
The one thing that that Paddo did say, independent of your room, was that he said a man should never keep his trophies in his room. And if anyone's ever been in Josh's bedroom, there's a very large collection of his sports trophies
What
through
is wrong
the
with
years.
that? Please explain to me what is wrong with keeping your trophies.
So what might be wrong with it is how old are they? How old are the trophies, Josh? Be honest. Because I have a trophy from when I was 10 and it's still in my old room at my parents' place.
So there's trophies and medals, and I recently, because as I've said before, my folks have cleared out their house recently, so I've got a lot of the older trophies, but we're ranging from present day social netball back to probably primary school basketball.
Let's talk about the older trophies. What did you get trophies for? I got best team man in year 10.
Team man!
Yeah.
Team man!
Which would ordinarily mean that you're shit.
Yeah.
And it's the sympathy thing.
Yeah, it is.
But I was kind of pretty good, but I was great.
Yeah. I love it if at the awards ceremony they awarded it to BTC.
Actually,
So my question to you, Dion, is did that team have a best and fairest award?
yes.
Of course it
Okay,
did.
so team man is very different to best and fairest.
Yeah,
then.
it is, but I can tell you I was good at football when I think it was in when I was 9 or 10, and but it still was insulting.
I think I worked it out.
No.
I think I worked it out. How many team men trophies did I get? About 20? Is that right?
No, but the worst player got the most improved award, so I wasn't the worst.
That's true.
Now, Paddo might be interested to know that I think my behaviour has changed, not because of him, but just a little extra system that I've involved.
Prompted by...
So now, look, there was a lot of commentary on it, so I thought maybe I'm doing something wrong. So now
Dion,
what
how
often
do-
happens is the jeans. Look, don't get too excited,
No,
Christian.
I'm hanging up a thread
How
here.
do you feel?
No,
He's coming to the dark side.
No.
Oh, sorry, the light side.
You don't know what I've done, Christian.
No, but Dion, I'm still very much with you, so don't get too excited, Christian. All that has happened is now I fold the jeans and they go in a basket.
That's perfect.
It's my normal washing basket.
That's
and it dumps in there. But what happens when I need to use the washing basket? They get dumped on the floor.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm happy with step one.
Okay, all
The
right.
folding is a really important part of this process.
What are those two words? Folding and basket? I've never heard of those two words. Actually, one thing that I've changed is I've had to convince myself that cleaning my room and the upkeep of my room is really important to my health and my mental health. And so what I did was I went to a nursery, I bought an indoor plant, and I've hung it from the top of my room.
Yep.
I've put 2 pictures on my wall that I've been wanting to put up for years. And now there's this weird juxtaposition. If my room is dirty, but I've got this beautiful framed picture and a hanging plant, then they don't go together. So I have to keep my room clean.
That's really interesting.
Hasn't worked yet. It's been 5 days.
Did you ever have posters on your wall as a kid?
Yep, I made it my intention to cover. I was one of those kids that tried to
so
cover
lucky.
his whole wall.
Really? With what? What sort of posters?
So I had
V8s, FHM models, the usual.
the Italian flag, bowls of pasta.
Ferrari logo.
Yeah, different pizzas. No, I had all of the Astor Theatre posters.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Oh,
good
wow.
one.
That's so cultured of you.
And then I also had my favourite bands.
Oh.
Cool.
Do you know what I had? I had something on my roof. Can you guess what was on my roof?
Star map.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I had my whole roof was covered with glow-in-the-dark stars.
We had them.
The whole roof.
Wait a second.
So it was really light at night.
And when did you take them down, Josh? How old were you?
Didn't it take ages as well? Did you take them down?
Well, they were in Luke's room. We never had them in our room. My eldest brother's room. But we were never allowed to have posters on the wall though, because the blue tack would peel the paint away.
Bloody blue tack.
So
Hang on a second. Your dad's a handyman. Surely he knows that when the paint peels away, he can just put another layer of paint on top.
yeah,
At the expense of his kid's childhood. Don't try to defend him here. I'm sorry.
no, it's a
Very
reasonable thing.
disappointing actions by Carman.
Do you notice how you can always find blue tack absolutely anywhere? It's in every single house, and I don't know why they've decided to make it blue either. It's such a shit colour.
because of the name.
You always, but we've got blue tack. But I don't know why do they make it that color, Christian?
Do you know what frustrates me the most about people's use of blue tack? Is how liberal they are. You only
Yes.
need a
Thank
tiny
you so
little bit
much.
of blue tack for it to be effective, and people put enormous chunks.
Can you tell that to my brother when we're sticking up posters for comedy festival? Because he takes about a quarter of a roll and does 3 posters.
That's
It's
why people
hell.
run out of blue tack.
Our budget, blue tack through the roof.
Once again, that was something that we talked earlier in a patch about. We don't know how things are made. Tell me, how on earth is blue tack made?
I don't think we want to know.
It's like some dark magic.
Is it the same place as putty? Is it the same place as glue?
glue sticks?
Yeah, it's the same place that ham's made. This is all a product of really growing up. Josh, you starting to fold your clothes. Dion, considering you bought a plant, Dion.
I know, I
That's
bought
a
a plant.
living entity.
Well, it's living at the moment. I have to
Yeah.
water it apparently every week.
But if I could bring us back to Paddo's comments, he wrote 3 things to me after he sent me that audio recording. He wrote, the 3 signposts to a boy becoming a man are, number 1, don't leave clothes lying all over your room, which I completely agree with.
That's his top 3.
2,
Jesus.
wash your dishes.
Other people's dishes or just your dishes?
When you're finished eating, wash your dishes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 3, don't wear Gazman until you're 60 or older. They were his 3 points.
A few of my measures for being a man rather than a boy, I realized when I was thinking about a few of these, as I was thinking, oh, yeah, that's a sign, that's a sign, that's a sign. I went, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that.
Really?
So one of them is owning a suit, which I'm still yet to do.
Don't own a suit.
No, the only suit I have is from when I did a show about 6 years ago. One of my friends lent me one for it. It was sitting in an office, and he went, I don't need that one anymore. You can keep it.
Does it still fit?
Yep.
Got a suit.
So that's what I wear my suit for. I have that. I also thought dressing for your body shape and dressing to a particular style, and haircuts. And included in that is buy your own clothes, which I still don't do. My third one that I came up with was it's kind of a separate theme, but it's not fair evading.
Oh,
Kids, fair evade. When you become like, it's not worth the hassle and the stress of sitting on a tram or a train worrying, is someone going to come and check my ticket?
yeah, it's just that thing of, but you learn and you reflect on it and you think, I could just pay this $3 or I could risk the whole journey getting picked up.
It's thinking forward and assuming responsibility.
Yep. Man.
It's almost like we've got like a moral to this podcast, but I don't think we do.
No.
No.
Let's go talk about some shit.
I was telling you guys in an earlier patch about how I was nicknamed as a child, as a boy, as a young boy.
Couple of nicknames.
Yeah, a couple of nicknames. The one that stood out was BTC. And actually, I was at my desk yesterday and a work colleague who listens to the podcast turned around and said, "Hey, BTC, what are you doing over there?" BTC, if you remember, stands for bucktooth cunt.
Work colleague.
Yeah, work colleague.
2017.
Yep. He brought it right to the fore. And it hurt as much as the first time that Nick Burrows pulled me out of that tuck shop line.
Wait a second. You remember the exact moment it started?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah, because he said it in front of so many people in the tuck shop line and everyone laughed. Because it was hilarious.
Actually, that is the worst thing of everyone else laughing. If it was just a private thing, it's not too bad. But the fact that everyone else is loving it and loving you getting hated on.
I reckon one of the worst things is being drunk when you're 15 and everyone looking at you naked whilst you're vomiting at a party. I reckon that's pretty funny.
Can be. Can be very funny.
So you had BTC, which lasted for how long?
Would have lasted.
What were the peak years?
The peak years would have been 16, 17, 18.
But then you also
19, 20.
yeah. Then you also mentioned that you had
Crevice.
Crevice
was from year 6, so I would have been 12, 13, 14, but that didn't circulate like BTC did.
It's not as funny.
Yeah, it's not as funny, and it wasn't as evident either, because of course I had a crevice, but I had buck teeth. And that was evident. Whenever anyone was sort of, if I piss someone off, people would just go, "Fuck off, you BTC."
Well, one of the reasons it may not have circulated is because I later came to learn that crevice is one of the common words that people have a word aversion to or a phobia. So a lot of people suffer from word phobias, and there is a common list of words that are contained within this.
And crevice is on the list.
Crevice is one of those words that people become frightened of.
You made it, Dion.
Other words you might find on that list: moist.
Oh.
That's my favourite word.
Yeah,
It's actually my favourite word.
I love it. Luggage. Luggage. Phlegm.
What about Christian isn't reading these? He just knows them? Yeah. Look at him. He's just...
Sorry.
Do you know why? Is it the way they sound or the way they're pronounced? Or
No. It's another case of me reading the title, the first line of the article, and that's about it.
Do you reckon your bully recognised that crevice was on that list?
He wasn't so much a bully. I couldn't call him a bully, but...
No, he tricked your mind there. He was a bully.
So he was a bully,
Yes.
and yes, I think he would have known that was on the list, yes.
Yeah. Because one thing with the bullying, like me with my long hair, like you kind of realise that this stuff, you think of it more as a kid, and I think you just kind of grow thicker skin as you get older. But it definitely still occurs. Like a few years ago, I was at a work Christmas party. I didn't know all the staff at the time. So, you're kind of putting yourself out there, meeting all these new people. And I started to tell a story. It was relevant in some way, whatever the topic was. I was like, oh, yeah, I can tell a story on that. And you kind of, struggling for conversation. And I start. And then as soon as I start the story, my brain, I go, it's not a good story.
Yeah.
It's just a shit story.
Yeah.
And so I go, I said this, I go, oh, look, actually, don't worry about it.
You got out.
I know. And then Rowan he said, no, go on, say it. I was like, no, it's a shit story. It's a shit story. He's like, no, say it. And I finished off the anecdote, and he went, that was pretty shit. And I was like, yeah, I told you.
That's really mean.
I told you it was
That's
shit.
really mean, because if you have the guts to pull out of a story, surely there's very, very good reason for
Yeah.
it.
I love that we now know that Josh wasn't properly bullied as a kid, because that's not bullying.
That's not bullying.
That's not bullying.
Oh, you don't know what
That's not
bullying is.
Bullying has to be about a physical feature other than your hair.
It has to go to your core
Yeah.
and become a part of who you are for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
Josh, could you please recite the story
No,
for us?
I don't remember what it was.
I would love you to
because it was
recite
so
it.
average
Yes, you
and
do.
boring and banal. No, I don't. That's the thing. Because it wasn't even...
But why did you want to say it? What made you
Because the
start
topic was relevant. You know, when you have those anecdotes
yeah.
and you go, oh, we're talking about this thing. Oh, yeah, I'll jump in. I've got a thing to say on that.
I do that all the time on this show.
Yeah. I'll riff on that.
We all do.
And then I was just started. I went, nah, mate, it's not a good anecdote. It's boring. It has minor relevance to the topic of conversation right now. Get out. And I tried to, and I wasn't allowed to. I was forced to tell the story.
No.
Yeah,
What
thanks.
a
Sympathy
horrifying
now.
feing.
Oh, fuck
Were
you.
you just shaking your head at him, going, I can't
agree.
believe that you got me to
No,
say
I
this.
just went, can I have another Corona, please?
Oh, was he the bartender?
And now it's time for Oh Wow of the Week.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Brazil was once called the United States of Brazil, or USB.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
One of the regular segments we got quite a lot of feedback on was the Roybus challenge, and this was laid down by Dion, who is very, very good and skilled at writing into companies, writing into businesses to get free shit from them. Isn't that right, Dion?
It's not free shit.
Oh.
It's ethically sourcing material. It's ethically sustainable resourcing of materials from companies. It's not the aim of the Roybus challenge is not to get free shit. It's to, Christian, how would you describe it?
To get your comeuppance.
That's right. Another word that should be added to that list of words: luggage, moisture, moist comeuppance.
So I had a lot of people actually contact me, buoyed by our success in the Roybus challenge and pushed and motivated, who got in touch with me, who had taken it upon themselves to write into companies and get free shit.
That's great. We love being an inspiration to our
It was
listeners.
fantastic. And one in particular was one Caitlyn Hammond. And she wrote in about a candle that she'd been having problems with. And she thought, oh, well, it's just the state of the candle. She heard the Roybus challenge, thought, I'm not going to stand for this.
Great.
I'm going to write in and I'm going to see what I could get. And reading her email, it sounds eerily reminiscent like Christian has written it. So what I wanted to do, I've printed it out here. So I'm going to pass that to Christian to read out Caitlyn's email about trying to get a replacement candle. So if you want to read that out now, Christian.
Hi, Alchemy team. I have previously written for some advice regarding one of your candles. I wondered if you have any extra ideas. I purchased my absolute favourite candle, the large 3-wick lychee and black tea scented candle, well over a year ago. It has persistently been a tricky candle since then. The wicks aren't long enough to sustain a flame before they become flooded with wax. Great complaint.
Such a good complaint.
And such a great flavour. Lychee and black tea. I have tried putting aluminium foil around the entire candle to increase the heat and therefore melt more wax with a smaller flame, as per a previous suggestion from your team. I have used paper towel to absorb wax and eventually also used a syringe to suck excess wax out. Unfortunately, the candle continues to be flooded. I simply cannot burn the wicks longer than a few minutes without having to remove additional wax. I also feel like I've lost many milliliters of my candle by doing this. She wrote mLs, by the way. ML. Scientific. I find this eternally frustrating as my previous small single wick candle was a huge hit around the house.
I can't wait to hear the response.
It was a hit. Any further suggestions before I finally give up? Caitlyn Hammond.
There we go. So that was her initial email, but she got a great response from the Alchemy team. Got a brand new candle for her trouble.
Oh,
so
wow.
sent in some photos and said, and they're like, yeah, that looks really weird. Here's a new candle.
Really? How could they get that wrong?
Sorry, just the one brand new candle?
Oh, not happy.
Just
That's what we
one?
need. We need the verification from Dion. How many Roybus sleeves is that
So
worth?
excellent form in the letter, excellent writing. When they offered her one candle, I don't think she should have accepted that. She should have come back at them and said, this has caused me a lot of heartache, a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
She should have requested more. And she should have said that their reputation was on the line and she probably at this point would not buy another candle. I'm going to give it 7.5 Roybus leaves
7.5.
out of 10.
Wow.
Wow, Craig.
Wow. I feel like we could almost start up a service where if people have grievances with companies, they could send us the details and then we'll write into them on their behalf.
So I've considered, not joking, I've considered actually starting this up as a business. One of 50 companies I've considered starting, haven't started one yet. But on the topic of that Roybus challenge, I actually conducted my own Roybus challenge, but unbeknownst to me, I wasn't conducting my own Roybus challenge. It was something that I did 2 years ago, and I was talking about it recently with a friend. So, Christian, what I wanted to do is I have an email exchange from Sports Direct. Sports Direct is a cut price fashion and sports brand in the UK, and I have an email chain I would like you to read out. And I was going to read this out myself, but I thought it would be much funnier if you read it out with me in mind writing it. Christian.
Hi, team. I purchased a Lee branded duck down jacket from you guys, and I'm disappointed with the quality.
Very basic.
It appears to be leaking. It appears to be leaking feathers. Please see photos attached. Can you please let me know how I can go about returning the product for a refund? Thank you.
Dear Dion Factor, thank you for your email. Having discussed this with the manufacturer of the jacket, they've advised that due to the nature of the materials used in making the coat, inevitably there may be light shedding of the down inside the jacket. Once the down has compacted in during wear, the down loss should be minimal, and this does not constitute as a fault. Kind regards, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya. There are feathers. There are feathers literally everywhere. It got to the point where the other night I was out and I had to remove the jacket because the feathers had penetrated 2 layers. Had penetrated 2 layers of clothing and were causing significant discomfort. I was literally itching all over my back. Absolute rubbish that this isn't a manufacturing fault. The quality of the jacket is... The quality of the jacket is absolutely appalling. It's shocking. Love the look of the jacket, but it is absolutely faulty.
Love the look.
Happy to supply additional photos or videos, but your reply is totally unacceptable. In addition to my comments above, I own another down jacket from MacPack. It has shed a few feathers, but this jacket has literally shed hundreds. Also, there is no opportunity for the feathers to compact, as you suggested, as the jacket is completely unwearable. Really disappointing response from you guys.
Dear Dion Factor, you can return it for an inspection if you would like to do so, but we do not believe this to be faulty.
Tanya, I literally cannot wear the jacket. How on earth are you making an assessment about the jacket from one photo and a description? Please escalate this immediately to your supervisor or I will have no hesitation in reporting Sports Direct to Consumer Affairs. I also do not appreciate the manner in which my inquiry has been dealt with thus far. The jacket is completely unwearable and the quality is absolutely appalling.
Dear Dion Factor, as I have advised, please return the item for an inspection as we do not believe it to be faulty from the photo. You will have to return it. Once it has been inspected, we will advise further.
So I remember when I initially forwarded this conversation to a friend of mine, he absolutely lost his shit. I messaged him the other day and I forwarded him the exchange again and he said, I've read your email exchange at around half a dozen dinners. And he said, I read it on Saturday night at my parents' place and we couldn't get past the second email because everyone was already crying. And I asked him, what's so funny about it? What is so funny? And he said, it's so many things. You start the exchange just raring to go. Your expression is so extreme, appalling, shocking, everywhere. But it's also important to note that the jacket was $16.
Oh, you're joking.
Yeah. But it was reduced from $150. So I thought I got this amazing deal. It's a really nice jacket. We will be posting pictures of this on social media.
Yes.
The feathers are literally everywhere in the photo. the funniest thing as well is that my mum refuses also to throw out the jacket. So the jacket is still on the hat stand at my parents' place.
You never returned it to get inspected?
No, I never returned
So Tanya never saw the jacket?
No, she never saw the jacket. But you know what? I'm going to award myself 8 Roybus leaves out of 10.
Of course you would, mate.
For persistence, for having the guts to potentially return a jacket for $16. Nah, it's probably not an 8.
This is like you describing yourself as a hero before.
It's just the anger and the aggressiveness I think you got off on.
Well, it's because I guess back in the day when I wrote that email exchange...
You're an angry young man.
Yeah, I was an angry young man, but I had no tact, whereas now I have so much tact.
My favourite part about Dion's Roybus challenge was twofold. Number one, we were witnessing history in seeing the master at work. I really appreciate reading Dion's correspondence. Number two, I love the visual landscape that you create. My favourite line, "Hi, Tanya. There are feathers literally everywhere." It's this idea of like you've had a pillow fight and there are feathers just cascading from the sky.
The funniest thing was like I wore it out a couple of times at night and I didn't know what was going on. I thought I had some sort of skin condition, but it was the actual...
What, you were leaking feathers?
Yeah, I was leaking feathers, but I just couldn't believe how rigid she was in not allowing me to like just get a refund straight. I was $16. She was so... And then I read up on Sports Direct on the internet and about the reviews that they get, and people just say they're shocking.
Yeah.
Feathers everywhere.
One thing that we consistently got a lot of feedback on was Christian in particular, his stories. We had a lot of great stories from him. We heard the frozen tomato story. We had his first time drinking, the Cafe Dad story that was overhearing, and also the watermelon story, which actually started as Dion's story. But I remember as we were because we did plan that all three of us, because I remember you, Dion, had yours first.
Yep.
And then you, Christian, you jumped in.
Yeah, I jumped in with that story about the watermelon growing out of my garden.
And as you were halfway through yours, I went, hang on a minute, I've got one as well.
It was this perfect storm where each of us had saved a watermelon story and had told each other about it.
But one of my favourite stories was about you on set with Nicolas Cage as an extra. And I remember that we actually went in to look at some of this stuff, and we're talking about you being the captain of the footy club on an episode of Neighbours.
That's right.
And we actually as a group went back and we found the episode.
Found the footage.
And we watched it. And it is fantastic. And Christian is fat.
That's when I was legitimately very fat.
I love the commentary you provided when we were watching that footage. You were saying how awful they were at football as well. They were just terrible.
Horrible. And
Well, they're the theatre kids. They're not the sports kids.
Yeah, that's
you know?
right.
When you watch back the footage, which we can post because we have found it now.
Can post or will definitely post?
We'll definitely post. You'll notice that each of the cuts of the camera are just before they make contact with the ball.
And you were telling us as well, you're actually on another show, Bogan Pride.
Yes.
And we actually looked up that as well. And you had some great extras work in that.
Yeah, so that was a show that was a Rebel Wilson standalone when she was just starting to... She was a star on the rise. And I was cast as an extra. But I was playing gambling man outside of TAB.
Gambling man? You're like Dion being team man.
Yes. So they gave me a form guide, and I was with another extra, and basically it was just myself, the other guy, and next to us was Rebel Wilson having a talk with her.
The star.
Actor father. Yeah, the star. So I was kind of, having a play around because as an extra on the set, you really are considered like cattle. You are worthless to them.
It's also, I imagine, quite boring as well because you're on set for a lot of hours.
Yeah,
doing
absolutely.
nothing.
Yeah, doing absolutely nothing. So I thought I would occupy myself. So I had the form guide in my hand. I thought, well, let me see if I can get away with maybe holding the form guide upside down. So I tried that for a couple of shots, and the director came up to me and was like, well, do you want to just turn the form guide the right way around? And I tried to explain to him. I was like, no, I'm kind of thinking about like the character's a bit of an idiot. And he's like, just turn the form guide around. So I did. And then when he went to call action on the next shot, I turned it around and had it upside down because I've now had this little personal vendetta. And he started the shot. Rebel walked past. He goes, cut. Walked over to me. He goes, turn it around. Turn the form guide the right way up. Yeah, okay, sorry. I forgot that I forgot. Just turn it the right way up. So he went back. And again, went to call action. One more time. I turned the form gun around.
Oh, no, you didn't.
He came up to me. He goes, if we're going to have to do this again, I'm kicking you off the set. And I said, sorry, mate. I'll put it the right way up.
Left the set in a handstand.
But it's weird because that was the second time I told you about Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
How I
Took
almost,
a photo, you got kicked off set again.
almost- yeah.
There was also other footage you showed us of you in the pool.
Yeah, so we filmed at North Melbourne Pools, which is a suburb in our city of Melbourne.
North of Melbourne, isn't it?
It's a swimming pool. That's all you need to know is a swimming pool.
And yeah, it was a day-long shoot. And the thing that I remember the most was that Rebel Wilson at the time had dyed her fringe blonde, but they had to spray paint it brown to make it seem like she was a brunette. But she was doing a pool scene. So every take, it would wash off and they'd have to dry her hair and reapply this spray paint. That was it.
That's weird.
Although, then again, I also tried to get kicked off the set then.
How'd you do it?
I grabbed a large inflatable banana. I
Turned it upside down.
Yeah, and I used it as a penis. And in the background of the opening sequence of Bogan Pride, funnily enough, I didn't get caught.
Yes.
And you can, in the distance, see a small man wearing a yellow t-shirt holding onto a banana like it's a penis.
That's great.
Yep.
So good.
Speaking of mucking around during productions, you with the newspaper, I remember I used to do the productions at high school. One of the musicals we did was Sugar, and I was playing the bellhop. And so one of my scenes...
I don't know any of those things.
You would play that character so well.
Thank you very much. It was American, so I had 2 lines in the whole show, and I came out and they said, telegram for Shiraz Good Fielding. That was my line.
That was it.
And so on the final day of the productions, it was a matinee, was the final run. You kind of play a few pranks. So my telegram, there was nothing written in it, but on the final night, I decided to draw a penis on the inside of the telegram. So then when I passed the telegram to Sir Osgood Fielding, he opens the telegram. And so he opened it. And it's this great moment where you can see on his face, like, go, telegram for Sir Osgood Fielding. And then so he grabs it, opens it, sees the dick, has this moment of pauses, trying not to laugh, and says his line, which is, "It's from Mother." And what was ridiculous is, for some fucking reason, the paper that the telegram was, it was like butcher's paper. It was really thin. So whoever is in the first like dozen rows would have easily seen this big cock on this telegram.
From his mother.
It was ridiculous.
Really, really good. You know what's really, really good? Really, really good. You know what's really, really good?
Do you know what's really good? When you're convinced you've lost your wallet and find it easily where you left it.
Really good.
Really good.
Really good.
Really good. You know what's really good? Watching a single knife tap against the champagne glass bring an entire room to silence.
Really good. Really good.
Really good.
Really good. Do you know what's really good? When a tram ticket inspector checks your fully valid ticket.
Really good.
Really good.
Really good. Really good. Do you know what's really good? When you have a shocking sense of direction, yet manage to find your destination by stumbling on it.
Really good.
Really good.
Really good.
Really good. You know what's really good? Being invited by the DJ to spend some time next to him during his set.
Really good.
Really good.
Really good.
Really good. Do you know what's really good? Getting a USB stick into its socket on the first try.
Really good.
Really good.
Really good. We love hearing your really goods, and if you have a really good, please get in touch with us on Facebook. Do you know what Alex Dyson thinks is really good? When you think the enthusiastic person in the bright t-shirt on the street is a charity volunteer, but it turns out they're actually giving out the latest delicious promotional product.
Really good.
Really good.
Really good, Alex. Really good.
Really good.
Do you know what Amanda Lee thinks is really good? That first shower after you've been away camping.
Really good.
Really good. And
Do you know what's really good? My pronunciation of Rafael Nadal.
really good. Really
Thank you for listening to the first season of Welcome to Patchwork. We genuinely loved recording the podcast for you. So we especially appreciate those of you who have friends and who've told those friends about listening to us. We want to grow and build community, and you are literally the knitting needles in that quilt. Sewing the quilt together. Yes. We'll be back very soon with season 2, and if you're missing us and just want to keep in touch, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, so please like our various pages. This week we'll be sewing the final patches into our season 1 quilt. Josh, what final patch did you sew this week?
My final patch for the season has been a recurring thing that happens every time we come here. My final patch is your mum, Christian, holding a big plate of food made just for me. And Christian, what patch are you sewing in?
Josh, for this final patch, I'm going to sew a Muslim man gifting an Italian man a candle overflowing with wax. And Dion, what are you sewing into your patch?
And I'm just sewing into the final patch on this beautiful patchwork quilt we've sewn. 2 private school mums throwing their dirty laundry all over the place. So thank you for listening to Welcome to Patchwork. For this final episode of Season 1, I've been Dion.
I've been Josh.
And I've been Christian.
Goodbye.
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 Oh my god!
Pat,
What
do you
the
want
Do you want to hear it again?
Yes!
Let's hear it again.
I smacked it out of my ear. I got so excited. My unbelievable.
Do you know what's really good? My pronunciation of Rafael Nadal.
Oh my god!
It's a great place to finish off.
You got the best announcer in the world to pronounce the best name in the world.
It was Josh's idea there.
Oh, what a legend.
Do you know what's really good? My pronunciation of Rafael Nadal.
Oh, what a legend.
Really rolls that R.